Welcome to Nightmare Story, real stories. Turn off the lights and listen closely.
My name is Kevin, 27, and I live in Denver, Colorado. I freelance as a videographer, so my schedule is erratic and I travel constantly. Last September, a large tech company hired me to fly to Seattle and film a product launch expo. They pre-booked my round-trip ticket but told me to arrange lodging myself and send the receipt later. To save money, I opened Airbnb and found a garden-level apartment in a quiet residential neighborhood on the city's north side. The listing photos looked perfect: polished wooden floors, a small modern kitchen, a living room with huge windows, and the price was suspiciously low. The host was a man named Thomas. 5-star profile. Bio reading: literature lover, amateur chef, seeker of silence. Day 1, cookies, jasmine candles, and a half-closed door. My evening flight landed in a light Seattle drizzle. Thomas met me on the front steps, tall, thin, brown hair, round wire-frame glasses. His gaze lingered a little too long, yet his voice was gentle. "Welcome, Kevin. Hope this will feel like your small sanctuary." He led me down the exterior stairs to the garden apartment. Before leaving, he handed me a plate of butter cookies fresh from the oven and a jasmine-scented candle, saying, "Light it." Very calming. A thoughtful gesture, I told myself. Only one detail felt odd: no television anywhere. Thomas said screens pollute a trip. I laughed politely. After recording late into the night, I returned about 8 p.m. and found the front door ajar. A chill crept up my spine. I was positive I'd shut it. Inside, the bedroom lamp was off, but the jasmine candle was burning strong, mixed with a faint metallic tang like dried blood. A folded note lay on the bedside table. "Tidied up for you." Elegant slanted handwriting. Ink still wet. I messaged Thomas through the app. He replied quickly, "Sorry, Kevin. I had to check a leaking pipe." Gave the floor a wipe. Reluctantly, I let it slide. That night I tossed and turned. Occasionally wind billowed the curtains, casting a swaying shadow on the ceiling. Each time I closed my eyes, I imagined Thomas standing silently in the corner. Day 2, the vanished jacket and a secret basement. Morning came. I headed out at 7 a.m. and photographed the room, the suitcase, my denim jacket, the laptop, just in case. The shoot wrapped late. I returned at 10 p.m. Hallway lights glowed dull yellow. Rain misted the window. Inside the apartment, my jacket had disappeared from the chair back. Heart pounding. I sniffed the air, candle wax and that rusty sweetness again. I marched upstairs and knocked. Thomas answered, dark circles under his eyes, soapy rag in hand. Thomas said, "Something wrong, Kevin?" "My jacket's gone," I replied. Thomas said again, "Might have tossed it in the basement laundry, lots of dust down there. Let's look." Basement? The listing never mentioned one. He reluctantly invited me down. Wooden stairs creaked into damp darkness. A single bulb flickered over rusted pipes and moldy concrete. In a corner sat an industrial washer, thundering like it was grinding bones. Thomas dug in a laundry basket and produced my jacket, neatly folded, with a faint rusty brown smear on the cuff. He laughed, probably spilled sauce. I tightened my jaw and retreated to the apartment. That second night I set a trap. A stack of glass tumblers balanced on the inside doorknob. Any intrusion would smash them. Around 2 a.m. crash. Shattering glass catapulted me upright. I lunged to the hall, empty. Among the shards lay a torn Polaroid photo. In my phone's flashlight I saw myself sleeping in this bed. Mouth slightly open. Hand on chest. Snapped from the doorway. I trembled, sweeping up the glass. Lashed the door shut with my suitcase strap, and sat awake till dawn. Day 3, knocks below the floor and a strange videotape. Exhausted and anxious, I begged the expo crew to wrap early. That afternoon I decided to search every inch of the apartment. While crouched under the sink I heard 3 slow knocks, thunk, 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 rising through the floorboards. The apartment had a concrete foundation, there shouldn't be hollows. Goose-fleshed. I pressed an ear to the wood, faint breathing. Fabric rustling. I peeled back the rug. Tapped each plank. One board wobbled. I pried it up. Beneath yawned a black cavity about 3 feet deep, stinking of damp rot. My phone light revealed a pile of eyeless porcelain dolls, cracked picture frames of past guests, and a mini DV cassette. I fetched my backup camcorder. The tape flickered to life, night vision footage of my bedroom. Time-stamped the night before. The lens panned slowly, settling on me asleep. In the corner Thomas crouched, lifted the blanket, rested his palm on my shoulder for several seconds. Then the clip cut. My skin prickled with ice. Fast forwarding showed older segments, other men, women, all sleeping. Always Thomas behind the camera. Final night, chlorine fumes, scratch marks, and a kitchen knife. Around 9 p.m. I started packing, determined to flee, and rebooked an earlier flight. But a storm flooded the streets, the nearest midnight flight cancelled. A single night left to endure. I shoved the fridge against the front door, drew the curtains tight, and kept a tripod like a spear. Rain hammered the roof. My phone, nearly dead, went on charge. At 11 p.m. a whiff of chlorine seeped under the door, stinging my eyes. I clamped a sleeve over my mouth. From the hall came a scraping, hike, hike, hike. I froze in the dark. Sudden yank, the curtains flew open. Outside stood Thomas, drenched, hair pasted to his skull. He grinned and raised a long chef's knife that glinted in the streetlight. Metal tapped the glass, clack, clack, clack. Kevin, open up. The cookies are still warm. I screamed get away, and hurled the tripod. It shattered the pane. Thomas recoiled, eyes dead wide. I rammed the fridge aside, the chain latch held tight. Thomas vanished from view. Heart slamming. I bolted into the bathroom, latched the door, and wriggled through the high window above the tub, gashing my forearm. Rain lashed as I dropped into the drainage alley. I sprinted 3 houses down, pounded on the door. A middle-aged couple took me in, shaking, and dialed 911. Aftermath, secrets in the attic. Police raided Thomas's house. The attic contained dozens of plastic bins labeled by date, each held stolen trinkets, clothes, shoes, brushes, even locks of hair tied with red ribbon. Jars of cloudy liquid, later ID'd as formaldehyde, sat beside half-dissected white mice. In the basement they discovered a dark room and a pegboard of restraints. Scalpels, syringes. Thomas was arrested on the spot, dripping wet, still in that mud-streaked cardigan. As officers cuffed him he muttered only one sentence. No one really wanders in, everyone is invited. Exactly like a line from his Instagram bio. He was charged with attempted kidnapping, voyeurism, and possession of toxins. Investigators dated some mini DV tapes back 8 years, each showing Thomas standing over unconscious guests, sniffing their hair, clipping their nails. Many victims never knew they'd been filmed. A year has passed. Yet every night I jolt awake imagining jasmine and chlorine breath on my skin. Any creak of hotel floorboards needles my nerves. And I still wonder, if the storm hadn't delayed my flight, would I now be another souvenir in Thomas's plastic boxes?
Thank you for listening to this story. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and return every night to Nightmare Story for more true horror stories. See you next time.